it going?
Good. Feel better. I was really sick last week, so yeah, still coughing, but yeah, I have a headache.
Sick yet? So, knock on wood.
Yeah, I was sick in November, and then I got sick again, and then it's happening. But yeah, after San Diego,
Oh,
I came back. Yeah,
the
I
Board of
saw
Adjustment.
Emerson. Yeah, yeah, I saw Emerson last week. Huh? I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Excuse me.
Are you okay? Hello. Hi.
Hey, Nikki.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. Seen you in so long. How do you feel? Oh, you need more.
You want to slide in here?
Thank you.
You want to slide in with me?
Another grievance one.
Go back to say, we don't need it. Go back.
You want to slide that box in here?
Nah, I'll just sit on the corner. I'll sit on the corner. I want you to read this one.
Definitely will do that one. So, Doran, do you know anybody in the room? Or you want to go to introduction so we can?
Oh, Karin.
Card?
Karin, yeah. Karin.
He's the airport manager here.
Yeah, then Mr. Brown, just
Jessica. I'm Nikki.
nice to meet you. Nick.
Shop steward.
So for the rental rep.
Because Sharon's not here, so that's why they have me come in.
Thank you.
And I'm Marcos Santos, of course. Alright, so we're here for Duran Brown's grievance, file 2825, termination of work, harassment, the job by Lance and Shamila. Per the company's note, as you know, CBA Article 11, Section 1, cardinal infraction, proven dishonesty, also for theft and dishonesty of time card records, and leaving the workplace during a scheduled shift without management approval. So at this time, I'm gonna give the company the opportunity to show what the investigation produced and to show just cause.
Sure. So we have, on, January 20th, um, whole, whole timeline of, Mr. Duran's, time while on the lot. And we're looking specifically, so I met with Mr. Duran to talk about his time. He did confirm that around 9, after 9, he took a break, and he did. That is confirmed here. However, he was he was asked to come into the office to be issued an attendance letter, to be a discipline letter of warning. He came in to do that. He then leaves at 10:04. He's in the visitor parking at 10:04. He leaves the parking at 10:30. He then returns at 10:54. He does a loop around the airport between 10:56 and 11:32. Then he clocks out for lunch and then returns from lunch. So he was gone for about almost an hour. He's unaccounted for. That's considered theft of time.
Is this a isolated incident? Just
I mean, I don't know from other times, but
I mean, this was the most recent
the
one
most recent,
that,
yeah.
but Mr. Brown had another previous incident where he actually, which we had conversations with, and no documentation kind of came from it, but it did put kind of us, kind of cause for concern regarding Mr. Brown's kind of actions and behaviors because he left his bus unattended one time with passengers on it. But he said it was due to some things that were happening on the bus with individuals that were there. But again, that it's been a consistent pattern of certain kind of erratic behaviors and things of this nature that have kind of surfaced. But this was ultimately what resulted in Mr. Brown's termination.
So this incident is what the theft and dishonesty of time records.
Correct.
And then in regards to the cardinal infraction is
Proven
proven
dishonesty.
dishonesty, the same, so the proven dishonesty is the same as the theft. Okay, that was a separate.
Mhm.
And leaving the workplace during a scheduled shift without management approval was the incident that happened within when him leaving the bus unattended.
No,
No,
that's
no, no,
from
that's
this.
this. Yeah,
this
you were
same
just
day.
asking if anything
was something
like
else.
this had ever occurred,
Mhm.
and there has been other
Yeah, there was-
instances.
To Judge's point, there's have been several like concerning, incidents like that bus, and then twice, speeding with, on the lot with the bus, safety concerns with that. Some kind of interaction with while the customers were on the bus with the enterprise bus, right? Some, foul languages were used, customer complaints from that there were people in the bus, and
Was he ever disciplined for those?
Yes. Yeah. He was issued a letter of warning for attendance in October, a second one in December, a third one in January. He received a first letter of warning for safety in December and the second one in January as well.
So they're in different buckets, right? We're talking about the attendance, and
Attendance
then we're
and
also
safety.
talking which goes to progressive discipline, and then we have.
Correct. Mhm.
So, but he is terminated because
The theft
the
of
cardinal
time.
theft of time and
Proven dishonesty, really.
and also it's not because of the abandonment of the bus.
No,
the
no,
litigation.
the proven dishonesty part comes where the statements from the employee was inconsistent with
And
what
that's
we're.
that's the one with the 10:04, the 10:30, that's okay. And
He
that's
confirmed when he was gone at 9 p.m. for his 15-minute break, which was he was actually gone for 20 minutes. So he cleared that, but this other time he did not.
so I'm gonna give Mr. Brown an opportunity to talk about that incident.
Okay, so on that incident,
January
your
20th.
manager, Lance, I'm an hour past the time of my first break. Okay, still driving. Lance calls me into the office and wants to write me up for taking a day off. Okay, prior to that, he tried to write me up for going around the bus, which not a bus, the VSAs. When I'm fully loaded and customers are worried about getting to their flight and they change the exit gate to Interceptor. Okay. Prior to that, he was standing out there with Shamila and they were conversating. Already had issues and problems before. And we're still talking about that same day. I sat up there, he brings me into the office after he already harassed me and didn't like the statement that I wrote down prior to. And sat up there and said, Brown, I need to see you back into the office. And when he called me into the office, he tried to write me up for being absent on the day for taking off. I didn't sign it. It's already an hour past the time for me driving, coming into the office and dealing with this gentleman. I sat up there, I took my first break because you're supposed to take 3 breaks. I get back on the bus after I was released, did a loop around. The gentleman calls me back on the bus and says, Brown, I need to see you back into the office, something about customer complaints. I sat up there, I get out the bus after he had sat up there and already had tried to say I was looping around. I had already 23 to go in. I explained to him when I spoke to him that I was at Terminal 3, okay? And I still had customers on the bus, I'm not looping around. The gentleman is so used to me being on a different bus, and this is how I know that it's kind of like the eyes has been on me or he's looking for anything. That when I came back and he was calling me back into the office after this, it was already time for my lunch. Now, I'm not trying to get it confused or anything, but we had already met. I had looped around, and then he sat up there the third time when he's sitting up there saying, talking about customer complaints, that he speeds up on a lot. jumps out the car. I'm walking back toward the bus to take my lunch, staying on the lot. It changed from customer complaints to after I got off a break to coming into the office to talk to him. Him talking about a bus sitting for 3 hours. I explained to him prior to that I wasn't looping around. That you got me confused possibly with another driver. Then he wants to ask me about crossing the line.
This is all January 20th, that same day. Can you expand more on that time frame sheet? Jessica is the allegations from 10 o'clock. What was going on at that time?
The allegations from that time, I believe it's about the time of being released because it was about 9:40, 9:50 when I had got out of the office. I took my first 15-minute break.
What did you come in that day?
I come in at 6 o'clock. Your normal regular shift time to take a break, and sometimes you don't get a chance to take it, is because traffic or dealing with the customers and the clients and the heavy load of traffic that comes into LAX.
Did you take a break that day?
I took the 3 break walks. I think I got to 2 before I was sent home because I didn't get the chance to take the 3rd one. Okay, so I had got called in. I did the first break after he tried to write me up for the attendance. I took the first break. When I came back from doing a loop around, in one track around, we're sitting up there with traffic, probably over an hour past the time. Okay, so I come in, I do the call. He comes back, he's hopping out of the car with Oscar, and he's running up behind me and I'm walking towards the bus. Then he says, after you come back from lunch, I want to see you in the office. So that's your answer to those questions where we at one time there.
And you have no documentation, statements, or anything on his whereabouts. You just can't account for that time frame.
No, so we have footage of that day specifically. We also have a statement from, I didn't print this out. I just realized that, yeah, I have a statement from Oscar
And what is that?
as well.
What is that?
So
statement
Oscar
say?
was the one that noticed that the bus was
Correct.
Idle.
parked, sitting. Mhm.
It wasn't anything that
Lance.
Lance was doing
Mhm.
to either pursue or, kind of.
Did Oscar investigate at that?
No, it's
Same
not.
moment?
So Oscar's job is Oscar's a bus lead.
Oh,
So
he's a bus lead.
yeah, so he just pretty much runs point to make sure that we have all buses in proper rotation. And when he realized the bus that Mr. Brown was utilizing had been sitting idle for a long period of time, he realized he needed to reach out to a manager to try to figure out what was going on. And this situation ended up obviously happening after Lance had originally been calling for Mr. Brown to come to the manager's office because he did need to issue him an attendance letter. It wasn't Lance writing him up for the attendance, it's just the part of the process. Lance was a manager on duty, he was there that particular day. We needed to make sure that any drivers that had attendance infractions or letters of warning that needed to be issued, it wasn't just Mr. Brown that day, it was whoever else was there. That was the initial premise of Lance reaching out. And then after that was when obviously Lance needed to reach out again because of Oscar, letting him know that the bus that Mr. Brown was operating.
After he had already called me into the office and had me wait for him and sitting there. First time I went into the original office next to your office, Kiki told me to come sit in here and wait for him. Okay, I sat there and waited for
What
that
time was that?
gentleman. I didn't leave up out of it. I even told her to look at the video camera. There was no lying or nothing on me. I wouldn't have to sit up there and tell you to look at the video feed. I told you to look at the video feed. Okay, I told you to look at everything because it was even to the point that even when I was stressed out, crying about the situation, it went from concern to protocol. Okay, it's just constant harassment. Things that are normal for any other driver going around something that's blocking to set up there. Like right now, this bus is on the side of another bus. He's going around. I was getting written up for that. It's not right. it's like being targeted.
So I explained to him about the
Yeah.
process. He could, if there's a discipline, he could keep it. He wasn't aware of the grievance
Yeah, but
procedure.
it's not. Let's be honest. Like it's not what you intended. It wasn't because you were passing the bus. It was because of the speed. There's a speed limit
Now
that
let's
used to
talk
be.
about speed. There was no speed at that particular day. Then when we're talking about speed. So since we're talking about speed, I believe I got written up after the fact of Kiki calling me out my name, and even Shamila telling me to shut the hell up. Okay, then not only that, then let's go to the even point of Letitia. Hold on, we're still going. Trying to darn near run me over with the bus. And then I have a message from being cussed out for going too slow. So I can't win, whether I'm trying to speed up for the colleague behind me who's cussing me out. And I still have the text if we need to read it. From being called MFs, don't nobody like you, but no disciplinary action happened there. And then even being met with a shop steward, the coordinator, and everybody in that office, to someone trying to change the story up, talking about I'm not doing my 10-7s and 10-8s, to after the first week of being hired, to that same person fanning themselves when I was taking my break in the back, trying to change my strength from going from the morning shift to the night shift, which was being promised a $10,000 night shift
So, bro,
bonus.
all of this,
Hold on.
all of this, nothing to
Yeah.
do with what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
meeting
all right.
here.
I want to bear
Okay.
up what's important
So-
here on what the company is making the allegation, the statement on. It's
So,
proven dishonesty.
We do have the video saved, step by step, and there's 27 minutes unaccounted for, 26 minutes unaccounted for, 24 minutes unaccounted for. I get the frustration, I get all of these things, but that's
It's
where
not happening.
At what point did
Let-
the
let-
manager go look for
I'm
him
sorry.
and find out what
he was looking for him the whole day.
the whole day?
That's why he had to get the help.
No, I'm
So we
sorry.
need to have.
What was the time frame again that he was missing, unaccounted for? An hour and change, you said?
Yeah, so the initial unaccounted time, and it's in the packet. It's on this particular page.
Yeah,
So
just highlight that.
starting from 21:32, so everything that's highlighted right there. So 27 minutes unaccounted for, 22 minutes which they could account for, another 26 minutes that was unaccounted for, and then another 24 minutes that was unaccounted for.
So the 27 minutes, that was Mr. Duran confirmed that he was on his break. And see, I even said 20
Okay.
minutes. He was actually gone for 27 minutes.
Okay.
So
And when the termination, did you guys talk to him in regards to what that accounted time was for, or it wasn't investigated?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And so I spoke with him. We had a follow-up conversation with him about this
There
with
was
Rosa.
no conversation between me and you about time frames.
We did talk
I
about
had
this,
told
Mr. Duran.
you
We
that
did.
no.
I have.
I
in
told
my
Was there a
interview
witness?
notes-
Hold on, one at a time. Was there a witness then?
It was just me and him. Well, JJ came in later in that day, but it was just me and Mr. Duran.
And then when you walked in, it was at the tail end, or?
Yeah, that's the day that I needed to go and try to find him. Yeah, so when Jessica initially tried to talk with him, obviously out of frustration of trying to explain the situation, I kind of came in towards the tail end, and Jessica asked for me to go and check on him to make sure that he was okay to operate the bus, because given his state at that particular point in time,
I had
Caused
called corporate.
caused a little bit of alarm for us. So I went to the back to try to see exactly where Mr. Brown was, which I did end up running into him, and he said that he was going to be on his way back to finish the conversation with Jessica at that point in time.
I had called corporate and complained about the harassment from Lance. Me calling HR was what I was brought into the office and talked to you about.
Well, when you came in to see me on the 21st, it was to talk about this incident, which is when I asked you about your break, what happened, about your statement of what did you mean about, you made the statement to Lance about crossing the line, and this is when I was asking you, what did you mean by that? So I have all of my notes from that day, because that's what you came in here for. And I said, we will more than likely bring you back in because there's more to this of the unaccounted time, and I just didn't have all of it like piece by piece. And that's when we brought him in later on that week to talk and go over it with him. That was with Rosa, met with him.
The union is asking for reinstatement and full back pay for Duran Brown. We have any closing arguments you'd like to, bring up? I know that there was a harassment issue. I wouldn't say harassment because harassment is under a protected class, more maybe a badgering of the employee. He had reached out to you, I guess, and told you there was an issue, correct?
Well, he asked me about Lance, and that's when we were talking about the incident that he mentioned, because when I met with him on the 21st, he said that Lance ran out and he felt that he was going to be attacked by him. I looked into the video and that's not what happened.
So you made an investigation.
So, correct.
Can we see the camera feed?
Hmm?
Can we see the camera feed?
You have the
That's-
footage
we
saved,
have the
but
footage, yeah.
You can send it to me, I'll take a look at it. So do you have any questions or?
no, I mean,
Closing
just
arguments in
what we'll
regards
do
to
is we'll review obviously with all the, all the details and everything, and then we'll just respond.
Alright. Sounds good. Thank you.
And hold on, I'm not done yet. You brought up an issue talking about abandoning the bus. I didn't abandon the bus. There was someone smoking weed on that bus. I called into the office and told everybody what was going on. They sent Juanito, who is not normally, from my understanding, the lead, but was being the lead for that night. Normal protocol, any other bus company, cops are called and the client is dealt with. You guys fired Timothy. Timothy was the guy who brought me back here. You had Kiki drive the bus in.
Kiki can drive the bus.
What she did. Juanito had Kiki.
Kiki can drive the bus.
You have to understand as well that the reason why you didn't want to drive the bus, was that something
You're not
the company
supposed to
looked at,
keep driving the bus while there's marijuana bellowing through the
We
cabin.
we got that, but that's the whole reason why
And I stood right there, didn't move until the bus was taken.
you were not held accountable. We didn't do anything, but it just that's a concerning thing to leave a bus with customers, like obviously, right?
I
But
think there's protocols for that and a process of going when something like that happens, correct?
and one is a manager with enough license documentation that he can drive the bus. So obviously a manager
Juan
step.
had Kiki drive the
What
bus.
manager has the upper hand when it comes to lead? So if there's times that the manager shows up versus a lead, then that's not something that's unusual. Sometimes it is possible that the manager will go. So
And does he, any prior instances that have happened in regards to his employment with Ron Brown? I know he's only been here about a year. Is there any past incidents?
I mean,
same.
everything kind of started manifesting and really like intensifying like after the abandonment of the bus. Honestly, it was at that point in time that, and I'm not quite sure what was the duration of time of him going from training in the morning to being transitioned to the PM side that he was currently driving on, and the duration of time from that particular incident when everything kind of started at that point. I know it was at some point in time last fall, maybe. But from that moment, we really just were trying to keep a watchful eye to make sure that things didn't intensify. I mean, the bus being left, the customers were the ones that was really complaining about being left and being stranded, essentially. So whether or not Mr. Brown was somewhere near there and the customers just simply didn't know. But when you say Kiki drove the bus, you're not talking about manager Kiki. You're talking about a CBD driver that's named Kiki.
Same bus driver that was calling me out my name that I have on
That's
message.
So
Alright,
they did have another CBD driver drive the bus.
You had
later
two
on.
drivers, three actually.
again,
It's fine,
we're
Mr.
not
Brown.
here for that incident. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, so I think the only thing I'm worried about is also that, you made an investigation. Did you reach out to him and let him know what your findings were and what was going to be done?
Well, between this happening, I haven't spoken to Mr. Brown since we termed him, but I figured we would connect today. But I mean, and I'm telling you right now, regarding Lance, that's not in any way what happened.
I have a
that
statement
evening.
from him. I'll turn it to you, and then you could,
Follow
add
up.
that to the investigation and then
Mhm.
give him a
Yeah,
follow up as well on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And figure that out. And clean that up.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
I appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm.
You want to stay after and talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah, you walk out,
Yeah.
Mr. Brown out.
I'm gonna talk about- Yes.
So I've been gone for 2 weeks. As
Mhm.
Monique left
Oh.
this on my desk. But so it's old, but she didn't realize that I was gone for 2 weeks. Attendance.
The only reason why I was gone for attendance is when I got bit by the spider on the bus. For those times that I was absent. It doesn't seem to matter if you try to do the right thing here. And I don't know what to say to you guys because there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. Because if you have drivers being harassed and there's nothing being done about it, and it's being switched up on it, it's not right. I never met you, but I feel the hostility. Blessings, bro.
So I'm gonna talk to them right now. I don't think they have it up, but if they want to do it, they're gonna put it forward, and then maybe we have a chance to show up the next day. Right? I'll be in contact with them in days. Are you okay? Are you okay with? Yes. Because that's something that the back papers might not want to. When they never be out for another 2 months, put that in the board of adjustment. The board of adjustment is a panel in it. And then they're gonna make the decision there, and if it doesn't, it gets deadlocked, then it goes to arbitration. And arbitration will be another 3, 4 months. You're looking at six a year out if you want to fight it all the way through. And that decision at the end is not guaranteed. I mean, right now I can think I can.
But then yourself is twisted up a lot of it and try to protect it. I know what happened. So there's no point in me sitting up here calling HR.
I think this is where the part where I think you're getting caught up. I'm focusing on why they're terminating you. I can't fight for your harassment if you're terminated, right? So let's get you reinstated. That's why we're trying to focus on why they're terminating you. Let's focus on that. Once you get if you get reinstated, which I think most likely I can probably something I can work something out with them. If not, I think the next step we can fight it. That's why I'm asking you, are you okay with just coming back to work and something like this? They'll probably push it and say, okay, fine, we'll just let them like to work until I can find something in regards to his whereabouts or something like that. I'm just trying to reach out. I'm trying to figure it out.
I think actually you said something. You started talking about pay. In my mind, I feel like no matter what, it's gonna happen anyway. That's why I'm back. It's gonna be something else that's on the team.
You know what the difference is? Remember, they can only fire you on the spot for cardinal sin. Dishonesty, being drunk at work. Those are things that don't go through progressive discipline. Everything else with progressive attendance is progressive. I fight it every single time. Why? I have a doctor's note. They'll take it right off. So you're getting a little savvier too as we go through this process. Let me see what I can work out, and I'll contact you. All right?
I'm sorry.